Hello and welcome to the Linear Show. In this show, we shall focus on 4 segments, which are politics, entertainment, technology, and lastly, business. But first of all, we're going to go into the relationship segment, where Beryl Chebet will take us through the relationship status. Why do teenagers date? This episode is all about teen dating, and trust you me, it's going to be an interesting episode. Now, in this show, we shall also look at the best hyperlocal stories and the best reporters from my reporters. Now, let us first go into the relationship segment.
During their teenage years, the young teens lack a firm understanding of the role of dating. They base their dating on attachment, how much time you spend with someone, or a personified experiment. This has led to the generation of various distorted ideals in regards to relationships and dating. Before I start to talk about teen relationships, I feel I have to make a clarification. Many people, when they think of the word relationship, automatically equate it to love or sexual relationship. According to the general definition of relationship, this is any connection between two or more elements, and these elements can be anything from chemical substances to human beings. So, from this definition, it is simple to deduct the meaning of this word applied to human beings. A teen relationship can be any kind of relationship. Relationship most often refers to interpersonal relationship, a strong, deep, or close association or acquaintance between two or more people. Dorothy, a relationship advisor and mentor, says that teen dating is unhealthy and a complete waste of time. On the other hand, Zawadi, a head girl at a prominent high school, has a different perspective. So, as much as you do not advocate for teen relationships, they are happening. So, what advice would you give those who are involved in such relationships?
In most cases, these teens, they can't control themselves. They don't know what the right thing is. And another thing is they can't go to an elder person that's for advice. They go in their other peers, and whereby someone you're 13, and even your friends are 13, 14, they can't give you a good advice. So I'm against it.
Love is one of the most profound emotions known to human beings. While you can talk quite frankly and straightforward in a friendship, most of us are more aware of not hurting the partner in a love relationship. So what advice would you give teenagers who want to date or are already in teenage relationships?
All I can tell them is that they should know how to balance their time, their study time, and their time to be with your boyfriend. Yeah, and you should also know your boundaries, how far is too far. Yeah.
Like, you still have your whole life ahead of you. You'll still get the right person. Like now, like you'll be when you're dating, like teenager influence, as in like you're told this perception, this is what you're supposed to do, the type of guy, because the guy is cool, so you're supposed to be dating that guy. But I don't think teenage dating is really right.
Depending on how they feel towards each other, if they truly love each other, then I believe they should give it a shot and date.
Yes, it's all about the decisions you make. So yes, if you feel you're mature enough to make your own decisions, you can actually give it a shot.
For Linear News, I am Chebet Beryl.
Guys, so today we are talking about teenage dating. Like, is it legit? Should people do it? And so we're gonna hear like people's opinions and say your name and talk about it.
Nawira, and I don't think it's legit because they're too young to even understand what to do in a relationship. So,
what about you?
Not legit. They can focus their energy on something better.
Wow. Okay.
It's not. I'm Angie, and I don't think it's legit because as a teenager, you're not experienced yet.
Okay, so whether you have it, no teenage dating.
Hope you enjoyed the entertainment segment, which was under relationship segment. Now we're going to go into the technology world, where we shall look at the Wi-Fi today. Many people today in the society depend on Wi-Fi to download books, to read movies, and all and all. Now we shall look at the disadvantages and advantages of Wi-Fi. But Kim Diba, who's an IT specialist at the CIC, will tell us the disadvantages and advantages of Wi-Fi today. Wi-Fi today has impacted the society in a negative and positive way. Today we shall talk to Mr. Kim Diba, who's an IT specialist at the CIC group, and he'll tell us the advantages advantages and disadvantages of Wi-Fi today. He's going to tell us about the evolution of Wi-Fi today in the society today. Welcome, Mr. Kim.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So Kim, tell us what's your occupation at the CAC group?
Currently at CAC, I'm an ICT security specialist.
Okay.
So that focuses on ensuring that our ICT infrastructure, including our wireless networks, they are secure, they are protected, so that we're able to give the level of service that is required by the business.
Okay. So why choose to do IT and not any other course in how you're working today?
But I think because first of all, IT is very, very diverse.
Okay.
Where our country is going in society is heading nowadays, everything is becoming technology driven. So I think eventually, most of the things that you're doing are going to be based on technology. The technology is serviced by IT. So I think currently IT is one of the best industries to be working in. It's very marketable, it's very, very innovative, and then there are very, very many opportunities around IT.
At your office place, do you use Wi-Fi a lot at your office place?
Yes, in the office we do use Wi-Fi, and I think Wi-Fi it's been a very, very beneficial to business, because with Wi-Fi, especially for business, it helps a lot in terms of saving costs, because you don't have to set up cables everywhere for everyone to connect. So long as you have your mobile phone, you have your laptop, you have your tablets, you're able to connect to Wi-Fi, and you're able to continue working and doing your normal day-to-day activities.
Okay, so tell us how the Wi-Fi today has helped the society today. How has it helped people today, according to you?
Well, for me, what it has done, especially coming from the corporate industry, you know, like for us in business, for example, when you have clients, when clients come to visit you, you want people to connect to Wi-Fi so that they can access their own personal things or official documents. So when you have Wi-Fi, it makes it easy for people to access the internet. Because traditionally, you have to require a cable to plug in to be able to access internet services. But with Wi-Fi, so long as you have a device, you just come, you're given the passwords, you're able to log in and access your online services.
Okay.
At home also, that means if you have internet at home, you're able to share as a family.
Okay.
That means if you have a phone, you have a laptop, my brother has a laptop, we're able to use the Wi-Fi, we're not able to share the internet resources.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you know how Wi-Fi started by any chance?
Well,
just according to you, do you know how Wi-Fi began and what impacted Wi-Fi to begin?
Well, I don't have the statistics of the exact study behind it, but I can imagine. I think either in the 2000s or the late 90s, when the internet was starting to pick up, now wireless technology was introduced initially to connect different kinds of devices.
Okay.
That's when I think now the internet engineers realize that probably this technology can be used even by end users to be able to deliver internet services to them.
Could you tell us the advantages of Wi-Fi today, according to you as an IT specialist?
Well, one advantage of Wi-Fi is that, first of all, it's very, very easy to access.
Okay.
Second of all, it's cost-friendly, in that I don't have to, as an organization, I don't have to invest in so many LAN connection points, so many cables. It's very, very, very cheap for me. Then it makes it easy for many people to share the same internet resources. So if they go to Java, they go to a restaurant, if they have Wi-Fi, everyone is there, is able to enjoy the internet. You don't need to come with a cable to connect so you can enjoy the internet. Well, I think technology also comes with its own disadvantages. I think like for Wi-Fi, one of the disadvantages is now currently our people now becoming like we're addicted to our phones. Because if you go somewhere and there's Wi-Fi, for example, I've taken my friend for a date, I go on a lunch date and there's Wi-Fi. This means that instead of focusing on the interpersonal relationship that person there, they'll be more attached to the phone because they have free Wi-Fi there.
Okay.
And also I think maybe at home, you know, Wi-Fi gives access to internet. So you're having young children, if they have a phone, if they have a tablet, they have a computer, that means they can easily access the internet. And you know the internet, there are very, very many things that children should not be accessing. So you find that children become exposed to a lot of things due to this Wi-Fi connectivity.
Okay. So Now, according to you, you say that Wi-Fi has brought a lot of changes.
Yes.
Now, could you please tell us one big change it has brought to the world today or to the Kenyan society today? Just one change that it has brought.
Well, I think one change which Wi-Fi has brought is that it has enabled mass connectivity to the internet. So if you go for a function somewhere and you want many people to connect to the internet, in the traditional way using land cables, it has been very impossible for let's say 100 people to connect to the internet. So the biggest benefit is it allows for a big number of people to use the same internet services in a particular area. So if you're having a meeting, 10 of us, as long as it's Wi-Fi, we can all access the internet. You don't need to have cables plugged in.
Okay, so are you trying to tell us that without Wi-Fi, your life will not move on? Wi-Fi is life today.
Well, like in technology, you can always do without it. But the thing is, it has really enabled things to become much, much easier. If it was not there, probably we would have found some other way to go around and walk around it. But with the presence of Wi-Fi, things have become much easier. If it was not there, probably maybe we'll find things a bit difficult than they are now. But I think life will still move on. But then it has really made life to become much, much more simple.
Okay. Let us now go into the business segment. Today the youth are really opening business from corner to corner.